lights up a room when he walks in the door. Evan White, with so many strong ideas, he's creative to the core. Evan White, cause he's been at it for 20 whole years with plenty to show for his illustrious career. So if you're looking to grow your brand, then Evan White is here. Cause talent tech PR is sure to take you very far. The HR tech space has a fresh face, and it'll make your brand a star. Spinning straw into gold and taking flight, you'll be soaring through the sky at incredible heights with talent tech PR from Evan White.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to my fantastic co-hosts, Danielle and Brian.
Good
Good to see you guys.
Good morning.
Great to see you. I feel like we all are like a similar vibe today with the coziness, just like a cozy morning.
This is professional.
Yeah,
this was picked out by my daughter. She was like, Dad, you got to wear
You're
green.
stylist.
I'll pinch you.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's St. Patrick's Day, so happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. That's
Oh,
exciting.
happy St. Patty's.
Well, welcome
Sounds
everybody
good.
to the HR Morning Show, the number one, you heard it right, the number one spot for all things HR all morning. And we're part of Purple Acorn Network. So if you guys haven't headed over to the purpleacornnetwork.com website, you should check out all the incredible podcasts that we have. But it's good to be here with you guys. What is new? Danielle, why don't we start with you? What is new in your world? You've been traveling.
Yep. I am tuning in from Austin, Texas,
Nice.
where I attended South by Southwest this past weekend. I was hosting an event. It was called the Intergenerational Meetup. And that was yesterday, but I got here on Friday morning and I've been nonstop. So my voice is a little bit hoarse today.
How was the event?
It was great. It was a good mix of people. I feel like a lot of people end up leaving Sunday or Monday morning. So the fact that our event was on a Monday, I probably wouldn't do that again, but we still got a turnout. And, it's, for me, I think we're at such a critical point in time for so many different people within, different points in their career, whether you're more senior and you're trying to learn a lot now, or maybe you're not, whether you're mid-level and maybe your job is being threatened, or you're not sure how to navigate two generations below or above you, or you're entering your career. I think it's a tough time and people are just figuring it out. So it was nice to have a really safe conversation with different people from different ages and stages of life, just chatting about their experiences and what they're seeing.
2 words for you: creator economy. What do you think?
I'm
Brian's
curious.
got a couple words.
I got a couple words. Did the one and only Mike Pedito show up at your meetup?
He did. He is a loyal friend. I actually got dinner with him last night at Terry Black's. So,
Nice.
Oh, did you have the brisket?
Yep.
Okay.
And
nice.
a beef rib.
Did
I
he
went
tell
all
you
out.
Did he tell you about how he came up with his realistic recruiting name?
No,
Oh,
he
that's okay.
glossed over that one.
That's okay. That's okay. Fink, what about you? What are you up to, man? Are you doing any traveling? What are you up to?
Man, I'm just I'm at home with the puppies right now. Like I am
Puppies.
the puppies. We are fostering 3 puppies from Bosley's Place here in Atlanta. They're neonatal puppies. They're neonatal rescue.
Oh,
You are looking at Fleck, who is giving me an inspection of the ear, and Dietz. They are named for characters that Catherine O'Hara played in throughout her career. There are 9 puppies in totality, so they're all named for characters that she played. There's a little boy named McAllister, there's Cookie, there's Delia, it goes on and on and on. But like right now, it's recruiting season. I am not going to anything until April when I go to DeanCom, And then May, we've got ERE here in Atlanta, where the players are going to be in Atlanta for ERE. So I'm excited about that. And then I think Craig Fisher has an event coming up in Chicago with TalentNet on June the 1st. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not. I don't know if Craig's put that out there. Yeah.
Chicago.
Exclusive.
Yeah, exclusive. There it is. There it is on the Hizzle.
Love it. I love it. Well, guys, look, I want to encourage you guys, if you're in the chat, if you're online in the chat, say hi to us. We want to know who is out there. And as always, you can follow us too on LinkedIn. What are we up to? Like 5,000 followers now? 5,000
For
followers.
sure.
We're on YouTube. We got podcasts. We do this every single week. So it's good to be here with you guys. I know we got a lot to chat through today. We got lots of big news. So why don't we roll on to our headline for the day?
Let's do it.
Headline comes into us from that contradicts some of the things that are found in the JOLTS report, is that stagnant job turnover is slowing or showing employers and workers are cautious amid uncertainty.
Really?
Which for those of us in agency land, it means that maybe people are not leaving their jobs. Maybe they're engaging in some job hugging. What I think is paramount here is that the new JOLTS data, and if you're wondering what JOLTS are, Google JOLTS and Steve Levy in quotes, and he will be more than happy to explain to you as to why this data shows what's going on, and that actual hiring is remaining flat because people are too afraid to leave their current jobs for fear of last in, first out layoffs. It does make me wonder about internal mobility and whether or not that is a work perk, and how we get talent to move in a stagnant market. Any thoughts here?
I mean, going back to what you said about agency, I actually think this is probably a good time in some ways for agency, because if you do need to hire, it's harder to find people. Obviously, there's a lot of applicants coming in, but if you want to find someone really specific, you might engage with an agency right now to find those people, right? Because I think it's harder to find like the passive candidates. But yeah, I mean,
Joel, I agree with you.
I don't think this is really anything new. I feel like it's been just building over the last few years, and we saw so many layoffs. So obviously, people are they're a lot more conscious about making the wrong decision. I think a lot more people are just trying to hold on to their jobs, hold on to what's certain in their mind or stable. And I also read too, along with this article, that I guess job hoppers are not getting paid as much.
As
So
much, yeah.
yeah, so it's like back in 2021, my favorite year ever, everybody could get like a 30-40% increase. That just isn't even happening anymore. So people aren't even incentivized in the same way to find
Bad news for Gen
something new.
Z.
Bad news for
It's
Gen
not
Z.
good.
Well, it's some ways, but I think we're gonna see a lot more people stay with their number one 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And now,
Yeah.
like, everybody's vibe coding, building, trying to think of something they can do on the side as well. So I think the side hustle thing is just like seems to be top of mind.
I think there are a lot of benefits to this moment. Of course, I'm not saying this is a entirely positive thing, but I always try to find the silver lining in it all. And I think for many people, especially who are in their early careers, they tend to want that immediate instant gratification of I love my job, right? And when you're in your 20s, you're still figuring out what your likes and dislikes are. And I think this generation is used to comfort. We're used to things being easier for us because we grew up with this. And in some ways, having a job that you really dislike or being in a position where you're uncomfortable for a prolonged period of time can actually be a benefit to you. You can learn a lot. There's a lot of personal development that you could lean into. You could choose to see it as a big hurdle in your life, and I'm sure it is. I've been there. I've had a toxic job and it was horrible. And in the same way, I think a lot of the time we might perceive jobs as toxic, but maybe they're not actually toxic. Maybe they're just harder, or we're expected to do the job of many people, or we're expected to do more than what's in our job description. So I want to choose to see this as an opportunity for a lot of people and like welcome that. I think side hustles are a great way, of course, to maybe be fulfilled outside of your job and get some of those things that you might not be getting at work, and also grow relationships outside of work with people who can mentor you. So I just feel like this is it's a time to lean in to the hard and make the most out of it.
Hey Danielle, I am curious about that, about making the most of it. Is if this article points to the fact that there's limited internal mobility, and Gen Z already entered the workforce during peak inflation, do you feel that they're stuck in the same role at the same salary, that they're not growing? I'm a little confused.
Yes. I think that is definitely possible, that there's stagnation and internal mobility is hard. I think that more broadly within the economy, we're not set up for internal mobility in a way that is really sustainable, especially the way that younger generations expect. But I do think that there are more ways to make money on the side. There's a ton of content creators that create content about that. I'm not saying that it's good to stay at a job for a long time, so that you never make more money. But I think that this generation, and what I've seen in data time and time again, is that this generation will prioritize their work life integration, right? Like being able to stay at a company and live the life you want to live outside of your job. They will value that above trying to find a job that has everything for them.
Okay.
So they're willing to sacrifice the 8% bump in pay, like with remote workers. But I do think over time that might change, because of course your priorities change over time. We're talking about early career right now, but a lot of them are graduating to managers now.
Oh, that's right, because you've got the rise of the mega manager, right? Like people who went from managing 3 to 5 people that they're managing 20 or so people. There was an article on Business Insider about this manager at Hinge who just overnight acquired like 6 teams and they lumped them all underneath them.
It's wild.
Yeah. Well, speaking of wild, I think maybe that's a nice segue to move into our next topic, which is about AI, AI, AI. I mean, I'm sorry. It's about job cuts, job cuts, job cuts, layoffs, 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 because AI, AI, AI. This article comes to us that Meta, according to Reuters, is speculating that they're going to cut about 20% of their workforce. This will be their largest restructuring since 2022, with about approximately 16,000 employees being laid off from 79,000. If you're doing the math, this inside information suggests that there's a major pivot taking place, and that it is because of AI driven displacement, which makes us wonder, is this all to satisfy Wall Street, or is this to satisfy the losses incurred by AI investments? What's at work here? Joel, you posted a clip on TikTok and on YouTube Shorts and on Instagram, where I follow you, about this layoff. What's your hot take?
I actually think Mike did a really good post on this. I mean, apparently it's not really even about like restructuring so AI can take off some of the work, or can take some of the work. It's really just they've invested really heavily in AI and they're trying to free up some cash. Um, but it's also, there's another rumor too with Oracle is about to do like a huge layoff as well. And then obviously we saw two, I think, was it Block and Atlassian both did pretty major layoffs. And they, I think the Atlassian CEO said it's we shouldn't, it'd be silly to ignore the fact that companies are looking to bring in AI to their company to get rid of workers. But with Meta, it seems like it's a different thing. Like they've invested a ton into the infrastructure and they're just trying to free up some cash. So they're not saying it's because of AI in the way that we're all thinking. AI is coming in and kind of taking a lot of work from people. So, um, my thought on this is, I just think we're going to continue to see a lot of these right. I just think we're going to continue to see more layoffs. Sadly, which wasn't what I was thinking at the beginning of the year. In fact, at the beginning of the year, I thought maybe we were going to see less layoffs and maybe just not as much hiring going on, so not as much growth. Um, but it'll be interesting. I know, like, it seems like with Meta, they seem to do a big layoffs, and then they seem to kind of like rehire people back for cheaper as well. I know that's a conversation that some people are bringing up, where like that's kind of what it's about, right? Like, lay people off, bring back people at a less cost, essentially. So I wonder if that's part of it as well. Um, but either way, I just think, like, we keep seeing these headlines. It just adds to the fear of AI, and then it adds to what we were talking about in the last session, where people keep seeing these headlines. Their automatic reaction is kind of fear and, okay, I'm just going to hold on to my job while I have it, right? That's kind of the repercussion. And then I just think, as a whole, all these companies, I just don't know how they manage like their culture anymore, because it's just like these cultures must be just so fear, um must just be so full of fear right now. Like, if you're not one of the people who gets laid off, then you just living your job, you're living your life like anxious that you're going to be laid off at some point. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it must be terrible. Fink, you're muted.
But yeah,
Oh, I went on mute.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I
No
was
worries.
just going to say, I was like, I think about 2022 and 2023 that it was Meta's year of AI efficiency, and and it came to light that Meta engages in top grading exercises where they look at their bottom 10 or 15% performers. Yeah, Danielle, I see the eyes. What are you thinking here?
Because when I learned about the bell curve, um, a lot of things started to make sense for me, because I would hear about my friends of mine anecdotally who thought they would get promotions, thought they would get raises because they're constantly overperforming, getting fours on all their things. And then they wouldn't. And it's upsetting, you know, especially when you're in your early career and growth is super important to you. Um, and so, yeah, that's why I rolled, because the bell curve and that whole thing, it's like so subjective. It's like, yeah, I just don't subscribe to it. I think AI could help us do a better job of actually understanding who's doing a great job and who's not. Because I've also seen the opposite, where someone has done the barest minimum, like in a company where you're required to go to the office 4 times a week, has shown up maybe for 5 hours total the whole week, and it is employed over a span of a year and a half, just doing like the bare minimum literally, and is still employed. And it's insane. It's crazy, the difference in effort and just the yeah. So
So, about the difference in effort, does anybody know, like, was it reported in this article, are these layoffs going to be across the board, or are they going to be hitting specific areas, like
yeah,
Meta, Reality
it did.
Labs? Yeah. What does that
Yeah.
look like?
Yeah, it did note, a round of job losses inside Reality Labs, which is responsible for virtual reality, hardware, and metaverse initiatives, which I would have thought they did, maybe earlier. Um, and in January, they laid off 10% of that division. So outside of that, I don't think that there was a mention of any other departments. But what you can also see based on where other organizations have laid off. So I don't know off the top of my head what Anthropic, or I know Google had some layoffs. But what I would say about this layoff stuff is it really does add to what Joel was saying about the fear of that's in the market. And I wish that we would do a better job in the headlines. And I think this is really the media's fault for framing it in such a way. I mean, this headline excluded, I would say, but for the ones that say explicitly, oh, because of AI, I think it really creates this false narrative that we're displacing people, that AI is displacing people right now. Because what I'm hearing from senior leaders at Workday, at Oracle, like I went to a panel yesterday, Kyle Forrest was on the panel with Glean. Um, they're talking about how AI is really automating a lot of the mundane tasks within their team, but it's not like it's replacing a person. It's that those people within that team are finding new things to do. Um, and his new role within the team is to make hard decisions. So a lot of his time is spent thinking and speaking to stakeholders and figuring out the best way to do. It's more strategy heavy. So I mean, that's one perspective that's out there. I don't know how many jobs are really being displaced right now, just because of how many actual things go into the decision of we're going to integrate AI into our company, and how long that actually takes to take off and to actually work.
Meta do better. That's what the headline should be. I think I mean, I think what becomes apparent is just anytime these companies do a big layoff, the stock price goes up. So it's just, to me, it's just like you're incentivized right away, right? And then I've read too, like CEOs right now are like lasting less time than ever in their roles. So it's basically like, if you want to know if you're going to have a layoff, look at, is the division I'm in, does it have new leadership? If it has new leadership, the best way and the quickest way to impact a company's bottom line right away, to lay off a lot of people, because then the stock price is going to go up, the costs are going to go down. And it just, I think you talked about it before, Brian. It's just like, it's just all these companies are just incentivized on the short term. And, I could definitely see a lot of these companies rehiring people at a lower rate. I think salaries are going to go down, are going to go lower. Um, and to your point, Danielle, with the actual work that's getting displaced, it is a lot of mundane work. But then I just think a lot of jobs are kind of mundane. So what I've seen from a lot of people is a lot of what they do in their jobs is attending meetings and then talking about things that are going to get done. And then it's like, some of these projects take years to accomplish things. That's the culture I think about at a lot of really large companies. It's like programs that take 18 months, 2 years to get off the line, meetings on meetings on meetings. And it's a lot of mundane work. So yeah, I think if AI can come in and make that speedier, I'm sure people are looking for new things to do, but are there really new things to do? I don't know. Like, what are the new things people are gonna focus on? If your
I mean, to
job was
your
just
point,
inputting spreadsheets, what
yeah,
new thing are you gonna find?
to your point, I think the metric that organizations are going to look at now is speed, and how quickly can we do things. And I don't know how that plays out across every team at every company. But what I would assume is that those people who are doing the work, it's going to be faster. So hopefully what would take some company 18 months to do would take them maybe a year to do.
Yeah.
But time will tell. Like I don't know. I don't know.
There's a great book that I just wrapped up. It's by Jeff Woods and it's called The AI Driven Leader. And it puts that thesis to work, Danielle. Really good book, quick, easy read. It's filled with too many prompts to even to shape. Like half the book is prompts, but like the other part, which is theory, is really good and it dials in on what you talk about speed to market.
Love it. I'll check it out.
Cool.
Great job headlines, guys.
Yeah.
Headlines.
And we've got a call coming in from Erin Walker. Erin, I'm super excited to have this conversation with you this morning. And I'm even more excited to meet you in about 8 weeks at ERE's Recruiting Innovation Summit here in Atlanta. Erin, what's going on this morning? How have you been?
Hey, Brian, it's so good to see you. I've been great, busy. This is a busy time of year for us. at Teach for America in the recruiting front, but I couldn't be happier to spend a few minutes with you this morning.
Well, thank you for taking time with us, especially with the hard and interesting work that you do at Teach for America, how you really are a fulcrum that is tipping us towards the future. Super curious to get into building that recruiting engine because you are working not just in one location, but you are looking in multiple locations to build and grow and to retain talent. Tell us a little bit about maybe some of the challenges that you're facing building this talent engine at Teach for America.
Oh, that's a meaty question. But yes, we are a nationwide organization. So we recruit in nearly 40 different locations, including Hawaii, all over. And we align our recruitment efforts for our core where there's the greatest need in communities. Our mission is that one day all kids will have access to a quality education. So when it comes to a recruitment perspective, we are both a mission-driven organization, but also a business-driven organization. And we focus on early talent. So graduating seniors, grad students, and early career professionals, 0 to 5 years out of college, those who are often most impacted by a lot of the ecosystem trends that you all were just talking about in many ways. And so some of our challenge is when we're thinking about Gen Z hiring, practices, this generation has probably been the most complex that we've seen in quite a while. And some of the environmental ecosystem factors really shifts how they think about how they make decisions about where they want to work and also live simultaneously, because both of those decisions for us kind of come together. And they want to do work that's impactful. They want to make a difference, but they also don't want to be a martyr for that at the same time. So they want to be able to provide for themselves, right, and have work-life balance, and then also do work that's meaningful. And so at Teach for America, we give them the opportunity to do that, to launch purpose-driven, leadership-oriented careers, but helping them to connect the mission-driven piece with the practicalities. It means that it's really important for us to run our recruitment work really like you would a product engine, right? Very audience-centric, based on audience insights, data, very iterative, measuring decision quality, not volume. And we have to run this like an always-on engine. So while our application is open from August to March every year, we have a 12-month engagement cycle so that we can stay top of mind for folks.
So, Erin, speaking of top of mind, I'm wondering as we're having this generation, or I should say, this next group or cohort that's making application, they're the first group of teachers that have been in college since the beginning of ChatGPT in 2022 and now graduating in 2026. How has that changed teaching or recruiting for those teachers for America?
Oh, AI is a really big factor for us in many ways. One, right, as candidates and how they're using artificial intelligence to complete applications, participate in the interview process, and having a stance as an organization for how we embrace, right, how technology needs to shape the work that we're even asking them to do as educators. So we want people to use it responsibly, right, but then being able to adjust the recruiting and selection process to suss those things out to make sure there's a measure of authenticity. But then also on the recruitment side of things, I find that AI is helpful for scale, right? For surfacing patterns, for automating touch points, but it shouldn't replace judgment. And we have a judgment heavy process because it is really high stakes, the choices that we're making. We're putting future leaders in front of children. And we want to make sure that we're being very judicious and responsible in that decision making. And so I think the risk sometimes comes when you try to use AI to filter too early, for example, instead of using it to better understand behavior and intent.
About behavior and intent, you use the word suss, right? Like, you're sussing out for aptitude, you're sussing out for attitude. If somebody were listening to this today and they wanted to be part of the organization, they wanted to Teach for America, what message would you send to them about being the right fit for the organization?
Oh, well, we're hiring for roles where our mission really matters, right? We're working alongside kids and families and communities to create greater access to high quality education. And so it's really important that first and foremost, you want to work with kids and you care about working alongside communities and underserved communities in particular. And you're okay with some of the challenges that may come with that. it is some of the hardest work you'll do to be an educator, especially an educator in an underserved community. And that is why we look for a very specific profile of leader. So caring about mission-driven, purpose-driven work, being able to achieve meaningful outcomes and across a variety of, backgrounds and sectors, but you can identify certain qualities in folks where they're going to have grit and they're going to make it happen and they're going to win no matter where they are. They would be a leader wherever they go. Being able to work across lines of difference and work with a variety of people and achieve collective impact and outcomes. And then also having a learning orientation. Are you constantly striving to improve in areas of growth and make your strengths superpowers and being willing to receive feedback and take control of being better? And those are the qualities that we found create not only the strongest educators, but the strongest educators in our context, but then also future leaders across sectors. So whether they stay in education longer term or they see this opportunity as an opportunity to get very proximate experience in underserved communities that then they can catalyze into greater systemic change in their future leadership, you still need those qualities.
How do we optimize that leadership angle, right? Or maybe, sorry, let me rephrase that. How do you optimize for that leadership angle? Because once you do Teach for America, you go on and you have all these reciprocal waves that you've created in the community you served and how the community has impacted you. So help me to unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's two parts. One, understanding our longer term theory of change and then helping to connect those dots for our candidates. Because they do want to make sure that their first or second job out of college is going to shore them up for the rest of their careers and that they're not derailing their careers. And most people don't see teaching as a form of leadership, right? And so really, it's helping them to understand as an educator, you're actually building a large swath of transferable skills that can take you into a variety of cross-sector pathways as a leader, and whether it's effective communication, project management, influencing others to achieve outcomes, strategic thinking. And so we have to be really clear about that because some of our insights show that that isn't intuitive for a lot of folks. And the term leadership has become word soup, as our candidates have told us, right? Every company is saying, come here and become a leader, but it isn't always clear, well, what does it mean to be a leader, especially from a college senior who may not have a lot of work experience. And so we have had to shift our positioning and our messaging to be really concrete and transparent with them. This is what leadership means in our context. These are the skills that you need to be a leader across any sector. And here's how you're going to build those through Teach for America's programs. And artificial intelligence is now a part of that. And then I'd say, when it comes to our theory of change, after people complete their core commitment, we have a good number of people who decide to stay in education. They want to be most proximate to education itself, and they rise in leadership throughout education systems. They create their own ed nonprofits. And then many others decide they see so many intersectionalities with education and underserved communities and the challenges that exist there that they want to have an impact in a different way. They may go to med school and decide to be a doctor in an underserved community because not having access to healthcare keeps kids from being able to get to school. They may want to become a lawyer and go on Capitol Hill and lobby, right, for ed reform and policies. We support our alums to do that through a lot of our career pathing work as well.
Erin, we started the conversation about ERE, and I didn't even ask you, what are you going to be talking about at ERE? Why should people come to your session and feel this energy and tenacity?
So I'm going to talk about how you turn your employer brand into a recruiting engine. My background is in product marketing, and I have been translated a lot of my product marketing work to my work leading recruitment marketing at Teach for America. And a lot of teams, I think, are really great at driving awareness, but they still struggle with candidate quality and alignment. And so I'm going to share how you can apply a product marketing mindset to recruiting by focusing on the right signals and by building readiness before candidates even ever apply.
Okay, wow. I just got chills because you've got to tell such a unique story about grit and resilience, but you have to have people buy in and see themselves in the story, but you also have to use it as a lens to kind of tell people, this is not for you. This is hard work. This is unlike anything you've ever done before. Erin, how do you balance both of those conversations?
It can be a challenge. But we use audience insights to really help us guide like our messaging and the hierarchy and the order in which we deliver messages. And really what we're finding, especially with Gen Z early talent recruitment, is it's very much matches Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so you first have to start with the basics. If I can't survive and take care of myself, I can't even get to the aspirational, emotional, altruistic connection, right? And so we have to be really clear about the tangible aspects of this work. What is it? What does it mean? What is my life going to be like doing this? Can I take care of myself financially doing this? What is the work-life balance going to be? What is the mental load going to be? And then throughout that, then we use storytelling to help people connect to our mission and the desire to do good and not having to sacrifice that intuitive, innate desire people have to do good. You don't have to sacrifice that for a career of successful leadership. And there's a misconception that you do. You have to pick one or the other. And so we really work to weave into those messages in from beginning to end of our journey. We have to work cross-functionally across our entire growth unit to make sure that we are delivering a consistent message that is rooted in proof points, that gives people an authentic opportunity to connect with our brand on their terms and really make the decision that's best for them and see themselves in our work.
Erin, I love that. And I'm so excited to learn from you at ERE on May 5th and 6th here in Atlanta. Erin, if people want to find you and connect with you, what's the best way to I guess, land in your DMs? What's the best way?
Yeah, check me out on LinkedIn, Erin D. Walker. I'd love to connect. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody at the upcoming ERE conference. It happens to be right here in my backyard, just outside of Atlanta. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you and to seeing you, Brian, again as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Erin, for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me. Have a great rest of your day.
Hi, I'm so excited to welcome Tiernan Walsh to the show. How are you? Welcome to the show. I think you might be on mute. Classic virtual.
There we go.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Well, I'm Irish. I'm off the boat from Dublin, and it's St. Patrick's Day. So
Oh, we're
I've got my hat,
celebrating.
and I've got my scarf. So I'm ready
Oh
to
my
go.
gosh. I love it. So festive. I'm not as festive. I'm traveling right now, so I have limited space. But I am celebrating in my heart and right here with you. So welcome. I'm so excited to have you and really talk about the very impactful work that you're doing. So for anyone who doesn't know you or Marcy Lab School, can you share with us who you are and what you do best?
My name is Tiernan Walsh. I'm the Chief Partnerships Officer at the Marcy Lab School here in Brooklyn, New York. The Marcy Lab School is a nonprofit technical school where we provide free technical training for 18 to 24-year-olds. We do a 12-month courses in software engineering. We got two courses, software engineering and data analytics. We include professional development, leadership skills, we have general studies, and then you have my team, which helps all the graduates get jobs.
Amazing. So I would love to hear more about, what you see as broken right now within the traditional pathway that Erin just touched on a bit, and how you're trying to fix it.
Well, the two founders of the Marcy Lab School they met doing Teach for America. So they kept, when we talk about leadership and how important Teach for America is, it works. Because Ruben and Maya, who both came from Teach for America and then were working within the school systems, the high school systems here in New York, they saw their top students get accepted into top universities, but there was a couple of challenges. A lot of the students couldn't afford to go or got some sort of subsidy, but not full subsidy. So they were faced with a challenge, go into massive student debt or else go to a more local based college that wouldn't give them the opportunity or network that they would get at the larger schools. So they set up the Marcy Lab School 6 years ago with the idea of providing free technical training, 12-month, project-based, real-life courses that are very much employer-focused and then help them all get jobs.
Incredible. So you're touching on it a bit, but you focus on underestimated talent, correct?
Yeah,
So
from underserved communities. So it's
Okay.
it's a black and brown and an awful lot of the fellows here at Marcy's parents are first generation.
Okay, incredible. So I'm curious to hear, what makes a Marcy fellow different by the time they go through this whole program. Obviously, they're more marketable to employers, but how does it really differ practically? And if you could get into some of the differences specifically that maybe you've heard from employers about what made this candidate unique and like really aligned with what they're looking for. Can you share a little bit more about that for me?
Well, yeah. So we were built around talking to employers. We're in Brooklyn. I can look out the window and I can see downtown Manhattan. So from the very start, we got employer input into how to build and design our curriculum. So our software engineering course is very rigorous, 12-month, focusing on JavaScript, HTML, CSS, API, React. And then we're also bringing in, we're very adaptable. Our curriculum is very adaptable. So we have brought in people from the industry who are retraining their mid and senior level engineers in AI, and they're helping us develop our curriculum. We're changing our curriculum in the fall, whereby we're recognizing that the fellows are going to use some sort of AI tools. So we're embracing that. We're having them look at Claude and Copilot and ChatGPT. But we're taking it from a different angle. The Marcy framework is about interrogation. So we're looking at the code and we're getting them to debug the code and see the logic behind it and communicate. Communication is so important. And the ability to communicate is a big part of our curriculum. And finally, evaluation of the code. We recognize that the code, the courses are changing and we can change very quickly with the times. We see large institutions are almost like tankers, oil tankers. Can you say oil tankers now these days? I'm not sure. But anyway, it's very hard to move an oil tanker. But here at Marcy, we're very versatile and we're working closely with our employer partners. And we visit our employer partners. We're going to visit S&P next month. We talk to employers. Our fellows go and present at conference rooms of our employers. Our data analysts were part of a MTA hackathon in the fall. There was 180 teams there, from undergraduate to postgraduate to PhD students. And there was they came second and fourth. And they came second and fourth because it was their ability to storytell and their ability to take data and then storytell and present the data. And I think that's why we're doing very well with employers.
Wow, that is, I'm truly blown away. I'm so happy that I'm getting to speak to you about this work. Let's sort of turn the tables a bit. And I would love to hear, for any employers listening, what does it actually take to be a good partner to the Marcy Lab School?
Well, a good partner is, I always think of it as consulting. We don't see our employer partners as transactional based process. There is that element, and we are experienced in staffing, but we want to be a long-term partner with this employer partner. So I mentioned corporate engagement. I mentioned curriculum development. We want to go in and tell them what we're learning from the industry and how we're adapting and help them change, because it's a lot of employer partners are asking us, like, where is it going? What's going on? Like, why should we hire early career talent anymore? Why can't we get our mid-level engineers to just do AI? And we're saying we recognize all of that. But what we're going to bring in, we're going to help you model a new apprenticeship. You need to hire people. This is not going away. You need to hire someone, and we want to stay very close to your engineers and work closely with your teams and change with the teams and maybe bring a different perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious before we get to your session at ERE. I'm just like, if we were to imagine a world in which companies, a lot more companies got this right? They really understood why entry level hiring was necessary, and they prioritized that. What changes for the future of entry level hiring?
Oh, that's a great question. So the changes for entry level hiring, I think, there was talk earlier about short term gains, and listen, we're all short. America it's an incredible country, and it changes fast, and it likes to make money. So, but you will still need some sort of early career talent, and the early career talent that we're going to present have the AI skills and the engineering fundamentals or data analytics fundamentals to help bridge that gap. And we want, this is what we're telling our employer partners.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going somewhere,
Yeah.
somewhere else with that. No, that is truly. I align with that a lot. I was just reading some comments. We have Anne in the comments. She said, "I like the idea of apprenticeship as well," which I'm seeing a lot more of in the market, which I'm happy about. So just to wrap up, you're speaking at ERE this year, correct?
I'm not speaking, but we are
Oh, no, you're not.
sponsoring. We are a
Okay. Oh, you're
sponsor.
sponsoring. Oh, so you're sponsoring. So what are you hoping to accomplish by attending ERE this year and getting the word out there about Marcy Lab School?
Well, firstly, I want to meet Brian. I've been following him for years, right? So that would
We
be
love
like,
Brian.
yeah. So, no, listen, we have never been in a space like ERE. I strongly believe, the organization strongly believes in recruiters and sourcers and talent acquisition, and we want to get close to everyone that's in that room because we respect them and we learn from them, and we will be, we want to show and showcase our software engineers and data analytics and show that we're an easy way to get past the 5,000 resumes that you're getting on your LinkedIn post. We have real people; they have real resumes. We know them. We want to present them to the community.
Love it. Well, I'm excited to hear how it goes for you. I think everything you're doing and your presence is needed, especially right now as entry level talent is not looking so hot. So I'm excited to hear the impact that you make and the splash that you make at this event. So definitely report back and tell me how it goes. But thank you so much for joining us today. And I believe we have a little segment coming up for you.
Unmute. That's fun. It's great. I'm really good at this. But you know who is really really good at PR and creating a buzz, creating a stir at live events? That is our friend Evan White, the founder of Talent Tech PR. And if you've been to any major HR event, major talent acquisition event in the last 2 to 3 years, there is a strong probability, in fact, a massive probability that you have run into an event that has been created by Evan White at Talent Tech PR. So if you're looking to get your brand's name out, if you're looking to create a stir, if you're looking to create an experience that people are actually going to connect with and remember, you need to be working with Evan White and Talent Tech PR. Creating events, experiences, connecting people. I think we would all agree. Anyone who's been to any of the events that Evan's put on will know, definitely a master at bringing people together. And I am extremely excited because I think we actually have Evan White here with us today, which I'm. There he is, Mr. Evan White. Evan, where are you?
What's up, Joel? Good morning, everybody. I'm calling in live from the Link in Las Vegas. Getting ready to have some fun.
All right, so I've just said how amazing you are, like putting events on, putting people together. So what do you have planned over the next few days, and what event are you at right now?
Well, I'm at the Link right now, which is a great, hotel. If you haven't been here, they put me right above the pool, which had loud bass music going all day yesterday.
Amazing.
And yeah, so today is the kickoff of Unleash. I'll be at Cabana pool parties today. Kyle and Co has a cabana at the Venetian talking about AI for his AI summit. And then there's a little impromptu Bellagio cabana party with our friend Alin Bailey.
I love it. And so when you look at these events, what are some of the activities that you get up to? You recording content, you're connecting people. What do you have in store?
So this time I went a little different. I'll be attending quite a few events, but I printed a bunch of these, Joel. I've got bags of them.
Legend.
And so I'm just passing out legend pins. Everybody knows we're in the middle of this now conference season, and so many of us, the practitioners, the vendors, everybody goes all out for these conferences. We're hosting parties. We've been planning these things for months, and they're hard. They're tiring. And I just wanted to pass around some fun. So this is just an unbranded thing. I want to pass these out to everybody who's putting in the extra work and the real legends behind these conferences. But Joel, I wanted to tell you something. So I was traveling yesterday out of LAX, and I fly all the time. And do you know that these TSA workers are still working without paychecks?
Outrageous.
It's unreal. And so yesterday I passed through, so I check TSA pre-check. I put my bags through the machines, and one of my bags has multiple cameras, laptops, all the gear. So they want me to separate that out.
Yeah.
And they saw these pins and they're like, what are you even traveling with? So I started passing these legend pins out to all the TSA workers right there because they're just helping each other out. They're making each other lunch. Somebody told me he pointed at somebody else that she drove his kids to school this morning.
Wow.
Because they're all just trying to make it all happen. So if you are traveling, if you're headed to Vegas or anywhere else, just be kind to these TSA workers. It's not their fault that it's slow. It was slow beforehand, and they're doing this without money. So just remember that.
It's crazy. So, and kind of going back to Unleash here, you're going to be recording some podcasts, it sounds like. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I'll be recording. I've got the All Access Media Pass out here, so I'm going to try to get front row to as many of the main stage talks as possible. But we'll be with Kyle Lagunas at the Glider booth. He'll be recording podcasts for his Transformation Realness all week this week, and then next week at Transform. Posner is out here recording with the PIN team, and I think it looks like there's about 3,000 or 4,000 people expected for this conference. It'll be a big one.
All vendors.
I mean, so many,
just kidding.
So many. Every single vendor, all of them, they're all here.
Okay, so you're obviously traveled and experienced when it comes to conferences. What is Evan White's number one strategy? How do you get the most out of a conference? Like, let's say I'm a newbie, I've never been to a conference. What's your one piece of advice?
I can't leave it to one. If you're at the event already, you've missed step one, which is the pre-work. So if you're one of these vendors or if you're somebody that wants to be networking, you need to get on somebody's radar before you get to the conference.
Yeah.
Because these practitioners, there's hundreds of booths. There's no one's actually planning to go and see all of them and get cold pitched on the floor. So if you want to actually make the connections, you got to do the research in advance, follow them on LinkedIn, find these people, and try to reach out and schedule a meeting. You're really good at that, Joel. A lot of people aren't. So that's number one, the pre-work. While you're here at the conference, everybody knows I drink a lot of coffee, but you got to stay hydrated as well. So drink a lot of water while you're out here. If you've got the red Pumas, put them on because your feet are going to be tired. Dress shoes are not the thing.
Yeah.
And it's as hard as it is, try to get some rest because the earlier you get to these things, the better chance you have to make a real impression for everybody.
There you have it. So pre-work, stay comfortable, stay hydrated, and be early. And I would say the last one I would say is you got to be present. Like it can be really, I think it can be really easy to, I don't want to say like tune out, but like there's so much going on. It can just be easy to almost be thinking about, hey, what's the next conversation or what's the next thing? But just being engaged with people and then realizing like, hey, you can make genuine connection with someone. And then what's your post advice?
I think that's right, Joel. Let's think about that for a second. Like it's the
right.
genuine connection because there's like far too often everybody they start halfway through a conversation, looking over shoulders, seeing who else they can spot, scanning badges to see who's there.
The badge scan.
That will ruin the conversation that you're in.
Yeah.
And that will make people not think that you are that genuine person.
Yeah.
Everybody struggles with it and it's hard. We're looking for our friends and we're trying to stay busy, but try to stay in the moment. If you're in a room listening to a talk, stay in that talk. If you're on LinkedIn, be taking notes on what the people are saying, not just texting your friends back home. I think that's very important. You have a chance to either make that genuine connection or make someone believe that you're just not here to do that. So
make it or break it.
There you go, buddy. Make it or break it.
Well, Evan, it is a pleasure to speak to you on your show on the Purple Lake Morning.
I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, you're always invited to
Thank
the
you.
show. But guys, seriously, if you are looking to boost your brand, if you're looking to get more awareness, if you're looking for a creative strategy, a strategy that's going to work, a strategy that's going to connect with your audience, highly advise checking out Talent Tech PR. Evan White, it's great to see you. And if you're at Unleash, look up Evan White right now on LinkedIn, send him a DM, see where he's up to. I guarantee you, wherever the party is, somewhere in the center of that, Evan will be there.
That's
Evan,
right.
Great to see you, man. Have a good.
Thanks, Joel. You're a legend, buddy.
You are the legend.
Take care out there. See you soon.
See ya.
What a legend. Two legends right there. But good morning, beautiful people. All right, it's time for the HR weather. And today we've got a little storm forming in the interview process. I've noticed lately that being authentic in job interviews has completely disappeared. Candidates today are showing up to interviews more polished than they have ever been. And honestly, it's not surprising. They've got AI tools, resume writing platforms, and coaching content all over LinkedIn and TikTok. Candidates are showing up with very well prepared answers. I would say they're probably way too well prepared. And hiring managers are starting to notice that a lot of candidates sound almost identical. Perfect answers, perfect career stories, and everything sounds so polished. But the challenge is when everything sounds perfect, it can be hard to tell what's actually real. So recruiters are adjusting. They're asking more follow-up questions. They're digging deeper into looking for examples, and they're trying to get the candidates off the script just a little bit. Now, the other side is interesting too. Some candidates say they actually feel like they can't be fully authentic in interviews. There is an example of someone being judged in an interview because one of their hobbies was gaming. Loser. No, just kidding. And that raises a bigger question for HR leaders. If candidates feel like they're being evaluated for perfectly normal interests or personality traits, they're probably going to start filtering themselves even more. So, what's the forecast here? I think we can all expect, and this is probably happening already, that interviews are becoming a lot more conversational, a little more probing into questions, a little more tests, and they're trying to get way less scripted in their interviews. Because in a world where AI can help write all the answers and give you anything that you need, recruiters are going to be looking harder than ever for the human behind the response. And that's your HR weather report. Let's get back to the panel. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I forgot to wear
Wow.
green.
Me too.
Brian, you're looking
Many
great.
of us did. Brian's daughter's on it.
I love it. I love it. So, Joel, I'll ask you this first. You talk to a lot of job seekers. Obviously, there's a lot of tools out there, and you give a lot of advice on TikTok. Like, being authentic is always something that I've said before, that like you can't really be authentic at work. Like
Right.
either you like it or not, you can't really. But like for interviews, what's your advice for recruiters that are really trying to dig in and find out if the person can actually do the job?
Yeah, I think, it's always just going that extra mile with questions, right? Like my favorite go-to is trying to get as granular and specific with examples that are going to demonstrate whether someone can do the job. So I do a lot of sales recruiting right now. It's talking about what's the deal that you're most proud of, and it's looking at it from how did you source the deal, how did you prospect it, who was involved in the deal, what maybe wasn't looking good that you turned around. But I think that example you can use across the board, right? Talking about like what's the work that you're most proud of, what did you do, what was your role, and not just taking like the first answer, asking those follow-up questions. And my advice is then the same for people who are interviewing for jobs. I'm actually saying rely less on AI and rely more on going in with really good stories, doing your
Yeah.
research, because that will actually help you stand out, right? If everybody else is kind of on the same script because they've used the same AI tool, if you go in and you've got a different reason of why you want to work at the company, you've got really good examples of work that you've done. No one can take those examples of the work that you've done. Like AI doesn't have access to that. And also then remembering that the goal for an interview is not to just progress to the next round and get the job. The goal for the interview is to actually figure out for the next period of time in my life, is this a place that I want to be?
Yeah.
And you can make a lot of bad decisions in an interview. If you just take an offer and it's not the right offer, not the right company, you're doing yourself a disservice.
In a world where the job market is extremely tight, sometimes desperation, well, I hate to use the word desperation, but you know what I mean, it kicks in, and you sometimes take a role that is not going to be a really good fit for you in the long term. So interviewing and whoever's interviewing you, I think, is critical as well. Any advice there, Danielle, for job seekers when it comes to getting ready for an interview?
Yeah. I mean, Joel really gave great advice. The only thing that I would add to that would be, focus on your personal connection to the role, to the person you might be interviewing with. If you have something in common with them, it's always great to start off with that and just find those commonalities and make a good first impression. But really, I think the emphasis for me that I've seen friends of mine who have landed roles in the past 2 years. The similarity is really the ability to tie in their personal connection to whether it be the company or the role or just the stories that they're telling. Make it more personal. Make it about your work-life integration instead of just about projects that you've worked on and the work itself. Although it is great to be very specific and granular, but I think having that sort of, intuitive approach to the interview process is a great thing. And I think it helps you stand out when there is so much AI involved in the preparation.
I think the biggest thing is proving that you can do what you say you can do, right? And I want your advice on this, Brian, or at least your feedback. What I've done in the past is I document any role that I'm working on and any accomplishment. I have a special folder that I put, hey, grew revenue 30% in the month of March, build this out. So basically, I'm creating a portfolio of everything that I've accomplished. And what I've done in the past, and it's been successful every time I've interviewed for a job, is I share my portfolio. I share like, hey, we did a marketing campaign. Here's what it was. Here was the results. And I can't share everything, obviously. Like I'll take screenshots or whatever's publicly available. But interviewers are always really impressed, and it removes sense of doubt that I can actually do what I say I can do. Right? Is that good advice for job seekers, Brian, to create kind of a career portfolio of the major milestones they have that they can showcase to the hiring managers if need be?
Serge, I think it's a great idea. In fact, back when I was a sales recruiter 20 years ago, um, when I started in sales
Just
recruiting,
a little boy 20 years ago,
just a
man.
little boy. It was when the hair was like flat. Is that 20 years ago we required that anyone who was interviewing for a sales role have a brag book to show
Yeah,
their progression, right? And people would come in with these binders and they take you through and they would tell you a story. Fast forward to today, when I'm looking at a candidate, and look, I recruit mainly in the technology space, is that I want to see your GitHub profile. I want to see what
yeah,
you've built using Claude. I want to see what you've built using OpenClaw. I want to see all those things. Like, I want you to immerse me in the story. I want it to be something that transforms both of our conversations. I think that candidates, to Danielle's point, I think candidates want to be seen and heard in that authentic way, right?
yeah.
That's why one of the reasons that, to your point, Serge, is that I ask a question at the end of every one of my interviews. Hey, Serge, we've talked about a lot of things today. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wish that I'd ask you so you could share with me?
It's a good one.
Perfect.
Yeah, and you'll be surprised. Like, that adds a whole nother layer, like a whole nother dimension, and that gets beyond the Chat GPT. I mean, no, okay, I don't have anything else that I want to say. No, everybody wants to be seen and heard. They want to show their authentic self, right? It's like Danielle suggested. Somebody says, "I want to work for this organization because you guys are looking for a cure for Alzheimer's." Right. And that affects me personally. That's never a question that I could have asked in the course of the interview.
I have a hot take that a lot of hiring managers disagree with, but I think is complete reality is hiring managers are not looking for the best candidate. Hiring managers are looking for the candidate that has the less risk. Because like honestly, hiring managers get fired when they hire bad people, or there's a ton of risk with that
No, they
potential.
get fired when they cover for bad people.
Yeah, fair
There's a
enough.
there's a difference. There's a difference.
Ooh,
It's created risk aversion with a lot of hiring managers. They look for the one that, hey, if you can prove that you've done that, even though this candidate is a great speaker, is a great interviewer, but this person has way less risk because they've done it in the past or they've done something very similar, they're going to go with the candidate that has less risk. What's your take on that, Joel? Do you agree?
I agree to a certain extent. I mean, it's this whole idea of qualified, right? I think qualified to most people is in their mind. It's potential. It's can they do the job? Are they going to do great? But in reality, qualified is have you done this
Yeah.
thing before?
Dude, that
And
is such bullshit. That is such
no,
bullshit, Joel.
That's
Hey,
true,
right,
though. I
right.
agree,
I'm
Joel.
not saying that that's not. I'm not saying that that is right. I'm just saying that in most intake calls with hiring managers, if you ask them who is your ideal candidate, they default to I'd love somebody from XYZ company,
See,
and then when you
okay.
break down who the company is, it's a
Yeah.
competitor, and literally they're looking for someone that they don't need to train, they don't need to invest in, and someone that's going to make sense. The problem with that thinking is at some point you have to be able to like develop talent, right? So you've got to be able to bring in someone that doesn't have the experience but has, kind of shows the potential. But it's very it's hard for I just look at it like this. If you're a hiring manager and you hire someone for attitude and then you're like, "Yeah, I'm going to hire for attitude, train for skills." And then that person ends up failing, then they're going to go, "Well, let me see their resume. Why did you
Yeah.
hire this
Yeah.
person?" So
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Brian. It's nonsense, and that's what it's come down to. But I feel like even as an agency recruiter, we are paid to find that person that doesn't require training, that doesn't require any of this. It's a plug and play, and they'll pay the fee for it.
So
Don't
Brian,
disagree.
I agree, and I agree with Joel, but I agree with you as well because it shouldn't be like that all the time. But that's what hiring managers are asking for: is have you done the job, because that reduces risk for the hiring manager if they've done it in the past. But
So I understand wanting to recruit from a top 25 CS school. I get that request all the time, right?
Yeah.
Because people have those fundamentals baked into them. I'm not saying to recruit for attitude or for energy or for any of those things, but I think there's something deeply flawed that we're going to say that past performance, something you did when you weren't challenged, is going to be a predictor of what you can do when you are challenged. And
Yeah.
I think we got to go a little bit deeper on that.
The over credentialing is like insane. Like the fact that we think that someone from, an under 25 or over 25 school can't do the same job as someone who from an under 25 school is absolutely ridiculous, because when you actually take a look at like anything, like you look at where someone came from, where they went to high school, what their interests are, what how they navigated college, whether it was like their first interest was their first major or not, or they switched up. Like there are so many factors that actually tell you and are better indicators of whether someone's going to be a good employee or is highly trainable, highly coachable. It's actually insane. And I think this is like something that a lot of people my age have a huge problem with. And this is why they're not going into corporate, because they're like, the over credentialing is BS. Like it's actual BS. It does not tell you also the people who, and I've actually heard this from someone who is very, very senior in finance, is hiring all the time for quant roles. Okay. He says, the ideal candidate for me is someone who did not even maybe study engineering, but from the time they were 12 years old, were interested in building outside of school. They're building projects on AI with using AI, like on whatever systems, like they're taking the initiative because they're genuinely interested. And when they arrive to my doorstep, even after high school, they're highly eager, coachable, trainable. That is the type of talent that this person looks for. That's not going to be everyone. I acknowledge that, but that's the type of leadership that the next generation deserves. People who are invested in them.
Good input, Danielle, and I agree. But also, in all fairness, this generation is in a unique position that you think about 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. If you didn't have a degree, if you didn't have the credentials, you weren't even looked at. I think this generation is actually in a better position than like generations going back 60, 70 years, where if you didn't have a university degree, you could not get an interview anywhere. And that has changed. And I'm happy that has changed as well. So
I will also say, I just think interviews in general are insane. Like the fact that I just think about it, like with you have these virtual interviews right now, right? Like, so I'm working on a role where like we literally have 3-4 interviews. They're all half an hour and they're all on Zoom, and it's like I think that that's fine in some ways. It gives people an opportunity to connect, but this is, I think the in-person interviews that kind of, when you get invited to a company for like a day and you'd go and you get a feel for the place. You'd get to talk to random people and just get, you get to vibe check it, right? Like you can't do that as much with the interviews nowadays. And then it's just like, it is just crazy that you're going to base like your whole decision on, an hour and a half or 2 hours worth of Zoom calls. It in reality, I think that interviews are just kind of, they're kind of nonsense, and it's been like that the whole time I've been in recruiting.
I gave my take the other week that I think IRL interviews are coming back, and not just for the interview, but like having like talent communities and companies investing in the long term of like, is this someone I want to suss out or hire eventually? Yes or no? But anyway, this is a
But
great
even
discussion.
then, it's just so crazy that like you get a snapshot in,
It
and the
is.
problem is everybody's on their best behavior. So like we haven't even talked about the
Totally.
companies and they're lying. Oh yes, we're the greatest
Every
company in the world, and you're gonna. It's like, come on, like you've got problems, okay?
It's like
But
a
it's
first
like
date though, Joel.
it's
Like
a first date.
Why?
It's a
everyone
first
shows
date.
up in their best outfit and their most charming side of
If
it.
Serge can ask a candidate for 3 references about their quality,
Ooh.
can a candidate ask a hiring manager, can you give me 3 references of people that you've managed so I know how I'm going to fit into the organization?
Brian, you're so altruistic. That's never going.
Oh, I know I am. I'm the only
happen.
one wearing green.
It's
I
not
think
going to happen.
I'm a
because
leprechaun.
that might happen.
You could create like a like a like backdoorinterview.com or something where it's like candidates can like literally just ask people who work at the company what they actually think. Or
I think Blind has that market covered.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Blind,
Well,
yeah,
Joel, we know how much you like the back door, so let's end it on that note. That's the HR weather.
Nice. That's great. Great.
Well, Joel
Awesome.
Lalgee is blushing now. What's going on, Joel Lalgee?
You know, just Serge, he's just got a way with words there. But yeah, guys, look, this is an amazing show as always. It's great to connect with both of you. Danielle, when do you get home? When are you heading home?
Oh, I'm on the road. I'm on the road for the next couple weeks. So this week I'm going to be at Unleash. I'm getting in tomorrow morning. And then what?
Said sweet.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. And then
that's
next
like
week,
millennial for like cool. So
yeah, I'm like, what is sweet? Like what? And then next week I'm actually going to be speaking on a panel at Transform. And we're going to be talking about Gen Z and specifically on the topic of our relationship with AI and new tools. So the behaviors that every generation should adopt to thrive at work. But Gen Z is
No cap.
obviously trendsetters.
No
So
cap.
insert graphic here. And then the following week, I'm going to go to Florida to see some family. So
cool.
It's going to be a lot.
And then Brian, you're recruiting, and you'll be on the road in April. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the road in April after, hopefully after these puppies are adopted. That's right. If you're looking for a puppy and you're looking to adopt a foster that I have nurtured, you can get on the calendar. Speaking of calendars, shout out to Calendar PA as our sponsor, but you can get on the calendar at Bosley's Place for a Sunday interview in person and meet with these puppies.
Love that. I love it.
So sweet.
Great show as always, guys. And if you're not subscribed to our show, go on LinkedIn, subscribe, follow, subscribe on YouTube. You can find us wherever podcasts are, and go to purpleacornnetwork.com. You can see all of our podcasts as well. The podcast numbers have been going up. They've been popping recently, which I'm excited about. I think it's great news for the network as well. And everyone who is traveling to Unleash, remember to touch base with Talent Tech PR, Evan White. Go make a connection. Go give him a hug. He's definitely a hugger. And hopefully you guys have a great, safe trip there. Looking forward to all the content coming out of Unleash and Transform next week as well. So until next week, we will see you guys. And that's been a great show. See you guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
friends.